Hello and good morning from Manila's Ninoy Aquino International Airport or NAIA. We're currently in Terminal 3 and we'll be flying to Hong Kong today with Cathay Pacific for a quick 4-day leisure trip. It's currently 5:11 a.m. and we are now at the check-in counters to drop off our bags. Cathay Pacific uses counters A1 to A15 at NAIA Terminal 3. A long queue greeted us when we arrived at the counters. Thankfully, we have a priority passenger with us, so we were able to get ahead of most of the queue through a separate line. We completed checking in our bags as well as travel tax payment of 1,620 Philippine pesos at exactly 5:30 a.m. We can now head through immigration and security, and sadly, another long queue greeted us as we entered the immigration area. Time check, it's 5:48 a.m. Finally, after more than an hour waiting, we finally cleared both security and immigration at 6:57 a.m. The queues were horrendous and the immigration was a bit warm, so many passengers, including me, were sweating. Also note that this flight was before many international flights were transferred to this terminal from the old Terminal 1, so I can't imagine how it is now. Anyway, Terminal 3 does have a decent amount of food choices for its size. The best and most options are located before you pass through immigration and security. We do still have a few minutes to kill, so we'll head to the Marhaba Lounge where we have free access thanks to my credit card, just to get some refreshments. All the lounges are located at the 4th floor, just after security, accessible through elevator or stairs. We also passed by the Cathay Pacific Lounge, which is said to be one of the best in the world. Hopefully, we do get to try it soon. Now let's head inside the Marhaba Lounge. This lounge is actually used by Emirates business class passengers and select credit card holders just like us. It's not the best, but it is comfortable and offers some food and drinks. I've been here before, and while the place leaves a lot to be desired, the food really is good. And of course, we do have a nice view of the runway and tarmac. After just a few minutes, I made my way to gate 111 to board our flight. It's 7:20 a.m. and our flight is scheduled to board at this time. And as I got there, looks like boarding just started in time, and I'll be joining the queue in just a bit. Our assigned aircraft today is an Airbus A330-300, registered as B-HLT. It joined the Cathay Pacific fleet in November 2001, then Cathay Dragon in September 2019. It rejoined the Cathay Pacific fleet in October 2020 when Cathay Dragon was merged into Cathay Pacific. It's now 7:33 a.m. and boarding is now for rows 50 to 76. It was fairly organized. And as we boarded, I was surprised to see a fairly new cabin considering the age of this aircraft. It features 24 seats in business class in a 222 layout and 293 seats in economy in a 242 layout. I have to say though that the bright colors do not match the Cathay Pacific branding, including the cabin crew uniforms. I pre-selected seat 57K for this flight, which costed me an additional $13 US. Seat selection is free though during check-in, but it might be hard to get your preferred seat. Let's explore the seat while waiting. All seats feature a large IFE screen and seat pockets for individual items, which I really like. The larger pocket also has a safety card, air sickness bag, and in-flight magazine. The tray table is foldable depending on how big you need it to be, and also features a cup holder for when the tray is stowed. There's also some storage space for items while in flight. Now let's explore the in-flight entertainment screen next. There are a lot of movie and television options here, good enough for long-haul flights and more than enough for our less than 2-hour flight today. There's also an in-flight map which I love and even some games. At 8:02 a.m., the captain announced a slight delay for our flight due to some no-show passengers. Their luggage are currently being unloaded from the cargo hold. I'd feel sorry for them though, as they're probably stuck in that horrendous immigration queue. It didn't take too long though, as after just a few minutes, the welcome announcement was made and the safety video was played. Pushback commenced at 8:18 a.m., 18 minutes behind schedule. Thankfully, ground traffic isn't bad this morning. At 8:39 a.m., we were lining up on runway 06. Sadly, our overwing seat does not provide us with much of a view, but views of the clouds like what we have now is one of the main reasons I love flying. The seatbelt sign was switched off at 8:45 a.m. and I then started looking for something to watch on the IFE. Cabin service began at 8:58 a.m. and I got my meal just after a 5-minute wait. There's only one type of meal on this flight: chicken with noodles, more popularly known as pancit canton in the Philippines. It is served with a bottle of water as well as metal cutlery, which I was surprised to get. The noodles were nicely cooked, and the sauce used had a nice flavor to it. The chicken was also not dry and was tasteful as well, so thumbs up CX. The seatbelt sign was switched on moments later due to turbulence, though interestingly, cabin service continued. My tray was cleared as soon as I finished my meal, and here's a view of the cabin after meal service, and we are now halfway through this flight. Later, despite using the call button, no cabin crew went to me after pressing it. Another passenger's request for a bottle of water was also not fulfilled after the crew rudely acknowledged his request.
The rest of the crew, second flight was set hopes to get. Thanks very much. Cabin crew, 30 minutes away.
We started our descent into Hong Kong at 9:45 AM. I also took this opportunity to do a quick lavatory visit. It's just your typical Airbus A330 lavatory, though I did find it to be a bit dark. That also really shows how old this aircraft actually is. Also, there was trash lying around on the floor before I entered, and the flight attendant who passed by rudely asked me to pick it up despite it being from a previous user. Anyway, after that, I did use the in-flight map. I loved how there are different options for the view on this map, including one that looks like a flight simulator. The seatbelt sign was switched on for arrival at 10:02 AM, and just 10 minutes later, into the clouds we go. The airport is already visible from where we are at this time. And soon after, landing gear was down and we were on our final approach for Hong Kong. We touched down on runway 07 left at 10:23 AM. Total flying time was 1 hour and 44 minutes. And while we taxi, it would be a great time to talk about the overall flight experience. Check-in was quick, though the queue was surprisingly quite long. Again, thankfully, I had a priority passenger with me, making the process a bit quicker. As for the aircraft, despite it being old, it was well maintained for sure and very clean except for the lavatory. The seat was very comfy, though the recline function on mine was unfortunately not working. The IFE on the other hand worked well for the most part, except for the fact that it became unresponsive at times. As for the crew, I think they could use a bit of improvement, as it did take several calls when I needed something from them. Other passengers also did not get their requests, and they weren't the friendliest. At least the food on this flight was quite good. Overall, improvements needed are minor but will definitely go a long way. We're now parking at the gate, which is at the very end of the terminal. That means it's gonna be quite the walk. We started disembarking at 10:43 AM.
Thank you, bye-bye. Bye, thank you.
And it does really look like it's gonna be a very long walk, so I guess that ends this report. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you again soon on our next flight.